We're focusing on the concept of an intermediary relationship, a topic heavily tested on the Texas real estate exam. First, you must know that Texas law does not permit dual agency. The Texas alternative is the intermediary relationship, which arises when the same broker represents both the buyer and the seller in a single transaction. The exam will test your understanding of when and how this is legally performed. The absolute, most critical requirement for a broker to act as an intermediary is to have prior written consent from both the buyer and the seller. A common exam trap is a scenario where a client gives verbal consent. This is never sufficient. The authorization must be in the written representation agreements, such as the listing agreement and the buyer representation agreement. An exam question might describe a situation where an agent from brokerage A shows a buyer one of brokerage A's own listings. The question will then ask what must happen for the transaction to proceed. The correct answer will always revolve around confirming that written consent to act as an intermediary was obtained from both parties. The duties of the intermediary broker are very specific. The broker must act fairly and honestly with both parties, but they cannot give advice or opinions to either side. This means the broker must remain neutral, facilitating the transaction without favoring the buyer or the seller. They are also prohibited from disclosing confidential information, like the seller's lowest acceptable price or the buyer's highest willing price, unless specifically instructed in writing to do so. To manage this, a broker can operate as an intermediary in two ways: without appointments or with appointments. If it's without appointments, the broker and any involved agents must remain completely neutral. However, if the brokerage has at least two agents, the intermediary broker can appoint different agents to represent the buyer and the seller. In this scenario, the appointed agents can provide advice and opinions to their respective clients. The broker who made the appointments, however, must continue to remain neutral. The exam loves to test this distinction. To remember the core duties, use this mnemonic: I must be fair. FAIR stands for facilitate, not advise, appoint agents if possible, impartially treat all parties, and retain confidentiality. For free practice questions, AI-powered explanations, and more exam prep tools, visit openexamprep.com. That's openexamprep, all one word, .com.